Shambhara Priyankara Shisarupa Damodara Shri Goswami Rupa Sanatana. You can start, Prabhu. Oh.
6 seconds. Yes.
So we're continuing with our reading and discussion of Sharanagati by Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, including our Param Gurudev's Lagu Chandrika Bhashya, Gentle Moonlight Commentary. So now we've finished these introductory texts, and still we're in the preliminary section. Now we've come to the Mangala Charam, and this is well, actually the last verses were definitely originally composed by Srila Sridhar Maharaj. I'm not sure if Srila Bhakti Vinod. No, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur didn't, because this song was written by Srila Saraswati Thakur, actually. Actually, I believe the original song that Srila Saraswati Thakur wrote was in Sanskrit, and then it was made into Bengali by Srila Saraswati Thakur himself or somebody else, I cannot recall. But anyhow, this song, this is our Guru Parampara song, which came from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. We're singing this song on the appearance days of these great acharyas in the Rupa Nuga line. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he has included that at the start of his Lagu Chandrika Bhashya, his commentary. But he has started not with Madhva Charja, Krishna Hoite Chaturmukha, that is the first line of the song. Srila Sridhar Maharaj is beginning like about halfway through with Mahaprabhu Sri Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nahe Anya, this verse, which is very significant. And Gurudev, he commented that in the Mat in Navadvip, on very formal occasions, they would start the song from the very beginning, Krishna Hoite Chaturmukha. But otherwise, generally, they would begin with this line, Mahaprabhu Shri. You can find it in you know the song I'm talking about, right? Krishna Hoite Chaturmukha. What page is it? Let's see, what is the page number? Krishna Hoite Chaturmukha Han Krishna Sevan Mukha. 238. Okay. You're going to be fluent in English before you leave. 238. Yeah, so in the Mat and Navadvip, usually they would start verse number 6. Mahaprabhu Sri Chaitanya. Mahaprabhu Sri Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nahe Anya. Because actually Mahaprabhu formed his own sampradaya. This song, it is showing the dignity, and for those who need that, the authenticity of Mahaprabhu's line, that he has appeared formally within a bona fide accepted sampradaya, the Madhva sampradaya. But actually, substantially, he started his own sampradaya. He gave us the Achincha Beda Bed Siddhanta, the conclusion of inconceivable oneness and difference. And so his sampradaya is called the Gaudiya sampradaya, or the Gaudiya Vaishnava sampradaya. So it is actually distinct. And Madhavendra Puri, he is described as the ankur, or the sprouts of that. That verse is before Madhavendra Puri Var. That is the verse before. So Madhavendra Puri, he is actually like the first beginnings of Mahaprabhu's sampradaya. And then that was fully manifest by Mahaprabhu himself coming to this world. And so really, our sampradaya starts with Madhavendra Puri, continuing to Mahaprabhu, and then Srila Rupa Goswami, and down to our present gurus. And so here, Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he is chosen to begin with this verse, his Mangala Charan. What could be more auspicious? Mangala Charan, invocation of auspiciousness. What could be more auspicious than to call out the names of our gurus, of the great Vaishnavas and Acharyas, and of course the Lord himself posing as a devotee. This is the greatest invocation of auspiciousness, just to remember the names of the Vaishnavas and the great souls. So, Mahaprabhu Shri Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nahe Anna, Rupa Nuga Janera Jivam. It's very sweet and very beautiful, very profound. So, starting with this, and this is the worship which Srila Saraswati Thakur established to prove this point, to bring this point into prominence. Mahaprabhu Shri Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nahe Anya. Who is Mahaprabhu? Who is Shri Krishna Chaitanya? None other than the combined form of Radha and Krishna. Such high, absolute and dignified position. He is none other than Shri Radha Krishna. Rupa Nuga Janera Jivan. And he is the life. He is the life and soul of the Rupa Nugas, the followers of Srila Rupa Goswami. He is our Ishta Devata, our most worshipable deity. Actually, we feel so happy and blessed here because we think we have Mahaprabhu on the altar and we have Giriraj on the altar. Like, what could be more perfect than this? What more could we want in life other than that? Vishwambara Priyankara. And who is dear to that Vishwambar is Sri Sarup Damodar. Sarup Damodar, the right-hand, personal, closest, most intimate assistant of Mahaprabhu. Sometimes called Dvitiya Kalevara, the second body of Mahaprabhu, the second form of Mahaprabhu, because he is so close, has so much affinity with Mahaprabhu. When Mahaprabhu left this world, Sarup Damodar, he left about a day later, or even less than that. He could not tolerate to maintain his life in separation from Mahaprabhu. So here Sarup Damodar, he is mentioned as the dearmost to Lord Vishwambar, to Mahaprabhu, Sri Chaitanya Dev. And this is identifying the disciplic succession. Sri Goswami, Rupa, Sanatan, and Rup and Sanatan Goswami. So this is like of that generation, of that, they are the foremost, they are the leaders of that generation. Sarup Damodar, Rup and Sanatan. Rup and Sanatan, they were appointed as like the Shastra Guru, so Mahaprabhu as the leaders of his whole line, who established the conception of Mahaprabhu clearly in writing, and they elaborated on Mahaprabhu's conception very clearly. And then Rupa Priya Mahajana. Who is dear to Rupa? So who is dear to Mahaprabhu, most dear to Mahaprabhu? Next circle, next segment, you can say, Sarup Damodar, Rup, Sanatan. Then next generation, who is dear to Rupa is Jiva. Rupa Priya Mahajana, Jiva Raghunatana. Who is dear to Rupa is Jiva and Raghunath. Jiva Goswami, of course, he is the nephew of Rup and Sanatan, so he is like junior to them, serving under them, particularly under Srila Rupa Goswami. And Raghunath Das Goswami, after Mahaprabhu and Sarup Damodar left the world, he came to take shelter. Actually, he decided he would give up his life after Mahaprabhu left the world and Sarup Damodar left the world. Raghunath Das Goswami thought, I cannot maintain my life in this world. How can I live? And so he decided to go to Vrindavan and commit suicide there. But when he went there, then he met with Rup and Sanatan, and he felt, oh, Mahaprabhu is living here. He's living in their hearts. So he found some new hope and new life in their company. And so he served under them, and particularly Srila Rupa Goswami. Then Tar Priya Kavi Krishna Das. So particularly Raghunath Das Goswami, he gave shelter to Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami, by whose grace we have received Chaitanya Charitamrita. Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he's described Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami as a direct disciple of Raghunath Das Goswami. And really it is because of his close company, his close association with Raghunath Das Goswami, that he was able to present Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is revealing the deepest ontological aspect of Mahaprabhu. Because Raghunath Das Goswami, he was a witness to the last 16 years of Mahaprabhu's manifest pastimes in Puri, when he was, expressing his deep mood of separation. Raghunath Das Goswami was a witness to that, an eyewitness, as Srila Sridhar Maharaj said. And so Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami, mostly he heard from him about these very esoteric and fine conception about Mahaprabhu. Then Krishna Dasa Priyavada Narottama Seva Pada, who is very beloved to Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami, is Narottam. And I seem to recall Srila Sridhar Maharaj commented that Narottam, he had much appreciation for Narottam Thakur had much appreciation for the writing of Kaviraj Goswami, something like this. Jarapada Vishwanath Ash. Vishwanath, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he aspires for the feet of Narottam. And I'm not sure exactly what their relationship was. Vishwanath Bhakta Sat Baladev Jagannath. So Baladev Vijayabhushan, Vishwanath, from Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, then we go to Baladev Vijayabhushan. And this is a very profound point, because Baladev Vijayabhushan, he did not directly take initiation within Mahaprabhu's Sampradaya. He did not have a Diksha connection, but he had a Shiksha connection. I believe he originally took initiation within the Madhva Sampradaya, of Madhva Acharya. But then when he came in connection with Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, met with Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he felt, oh, this is something higher, this is something more. And so he took shelter there and stayed with him in Vrindavan. And Baladev Vijayabhushan, he did a very great service to Mahaprabhu's Sampradaya, because he composed the Govinda Bhashya, commentary on the Vedanta Sutra, which had not previously been done by any acharya within our line. Because there was some criteria, that's another story, a long story. Many of you have heard that anyway. But there was some criteria that in order for a sampradaya to be recognized as bona fide, they must have, fulfill certain criteria. And one of them was they have their own commentary on Vedanta Sutra, or Vedanta Darshan, or the Vedanta, however you want to call it. And so we didn't have one in Mahaprabhu's line. And so Baladev Vijayabhushan, he wrote that. And he is seen as being in the line, in the mood of Srila Jiva Goswami, has some strong protective mood, something of a fighting spirit, defending the conception. And so, therefore, even though he's formally taken initiation, taken diksha in another line, because he made such a great contribution to Mahaprabhu's Gaudiya line, and he took shiksha, he took shelter here eventually, he is included within our sampradaya, he is included within the line of the great acharyas. So this point is very significant. The shiksha connection is given greater importance than diksha. So then from Baladev Vijayabhushan we go to Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, and then and of course there's some gap here, no doubt, but as I said, our emphasis here is on the shiksha connection, where Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he gave, I think it's in Shri Guru and His Grace, there's somebody very puzzled, like, I'm looking at this Guru Parampara and I'm seeing sometimes there's like gaps of hundreds of years, how is this possible? And Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he's explaining, like, if you are talking about like the history of science and discussing the contributions of scientists in the development of scientific understanding, you're not going to like go like generation by generation, every generation. You're going to go to discuss that person who has made a serious contribution to science. You're not going to go and talk about every, Tom, Dick, and Harry and what their opinion was and what they had to say and what their theory was. But who has made a serious contribution towards the advancement of science? They'll be recorded in the history books. They're the ones that we will take note of. And so in the same way, no doubt many persons, gurus, have been left out, but those who have made a very great contribution, they are noted and they are appreciated here, because it is shiksha. It is not a body line, not a line of bodies. Srila Gurudev, he also gave a very nice example that like on the street you have the light posts, the lamps, and then you also have that are giving some illumination, and then you also have the wires underground. And so in the same way, sometimes you have gurus who are like, the body gurus who are continuing the lineage, and then more rarely you have those great acharyas who are like fully revealing and showing the glory and the dignity of the teachings of this line. But it is not, every generation that will have that. That will be much more rare. And so, because of that, we find these gaps. So then from Jagannath Das Babaji, we go to Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and then from Bhaktivinoda Thakur to Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, and then we go to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And then we go to Srila Sridhar Maharaj. Of course, Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he's not mentioned here because this is his own. Then he's taken this up to the description of Srila Saraswati Thakur. Actually, he wrote that verse himself, no doubt. And then he has some concluding verses which are also his own. I'm going to read this verse of Srila Saraswati Thakur because it's very beautiful. Tadanuga Mahajan Shri Krishna Kirtana Dan Jeba Dilo Puri Jagakam Shivar Shaba Navivada Sada Sevya Seva Pada Tahara Dayita Dasanam. Dayita Das, this is the internal name of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, sometimes Shri Varshabhanavi Dayita Das, the dearmost servant of Srimati Radharani. I'm going to read that chant. The follower of Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, the great soul Dayita Das, Srila Saraswati Thakur, whose wealth is Shri Krishna Kirtan, fulfills the desires of the whole world. He is the dearmost of Shri Varshabhanavi, his name for Srimati Radharani, the daughter of Vrishabhanu Raj, and is always engaged in her service. And then he has a second verse in glorification of Saraswati Thakur. Jiva binna deho dibya sarup rupa ragu jivya sada sevya se para padma jar bhagyo doy shanda das ramananda manda shi chandrika deke seva sadma. The divine personality Shri Dayita Das is non-different from Srila Jiva Goswami Prabhu. In this comparison we've heard Srila Sridhar Maharaj has made a few times in his poems. This comparison of Srila Saraswati Thakur to Jiva Goswami. He is, as I mentioned, Baladevi Jabushan, he's sometimes described as being like in that group, in that camp. So Srila Saraswati Thakur, he is also recognized like that. As, you know, having this very strong, protective, fighting mood, you know, in order to defend the Sampradaya. Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he said how, Srila Gurudev, he said, Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he said that when he was a boy, before he even came to you know, he came in connection with the Gaudiya Math and Srila Saraswati Thakur, but when he was a boy, one of his uncles was one of these, I think, like Jati Gosais, like Sahajiya line guru, like that. And at this time, Srila Saraswati Thakur was starting to become known for his astounding scholarship and his ability in debate and his strong fighting mood. And this was when he was still in Mayapur. He had a very small place, was called Brajapatan. And that was where he started with just very few followers. And from there he went to Calcutta and eventually all over India. But this is in the very beginning, grassroots movement. When he was in Mayapur. And he was becoming, his fame was starting to spread because of his qualification. And many of these groups, they were starting to feel threatened and a little worried because he was so powerful and so intelligent and just defeating them. And so one of those persons was this uncle of Srila Sridhar Maharaj. And as a boy, Srila Sridhar Maharaj recalled overhearing his uncle talking about him. And he was, we're in trouble. And he described Srila Saraswati Thakur as a bull that always had its foot ready, like a bull that's kind of challenging one to fight. It puts one hoof forward, pawing the ground, ready to fight. It's one Bengali phrase. That his mood was like that. And so this comparison is made with Srila Jiva Goswami, who also had this fighting spirit. It can be seen as ego, can be seen as arrogance, but it is expressed in the mood of service to one's gurus. So it is a particular mood of humility. And so here Srila Sridhar Maharaj describes him as non-different from Srila Jiva Goswami Prabhu. His very life is Srila Swarup Damodar, Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhu, and Srila Raghunath Das Goswami Prabhu. His lotus feet are to be served eternally. This feeble Ramananda Das. So here, Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he's actually written this years after he's taken sannyas, after he's Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar. But he's referring to himself in this way, and this was the name that Srila Saraswati Thakur gave him. Originally, he was, what was his original name? Yes, Ramendra Sundar, right? Ramendra Sundar. Originally, when he came, he was Ramendra Chandra. And then when Srila Saraswati Thakur gave him initiation, he changed it to Ramendra Sundar. And then later, maybe a couple years later, or maybe less than that, he sent him to, because this was one of the missions of Saraswati Thakur, were one of the projects he established Padapit, he established the footprints of Mahaprabhu. Everywhere that he traveled around India, he had these Padapit, these footprints established to mark that place, to show that Mahaprabhu went there. And so Srila Saraswati Thakur gave this mission to Srila Sridhar Maharaj to discover the location where Mahaprabhu had discussion with Srila Ramananda Rai on the banks of the Godavari River in Andhra Pradesh in South India.
Was this place discovered?
Srila Sridhar Maharaj discovered the exact location, and he established a temple there.
So we would have a temple there?
Well, this is in the time of the Gaudiya Math, so it would have been part of the Gaudiya Math. I'm not sure exactly what's happening there now.
It would be interesting. It's a very significant.
I mean, maybe, I know Srila Charja Maharaj, he a few years ago, I think Mahamantra Prabhu might have gone with him. He took a group to South India and made some pilgrimage there and did some preaching there. Maybe even Atulananda Prabhu went. Did you go with Srila Charja Maharaj?
Where?
To South India? Maybe that was before you came.
No,
maybe.
not with Srila Charja Maharaj, no.
Okay. You went with somebody else, is it?
Yeah, Santa Maharaj.
Okay. Did you?
Or I went with Sag Maharaj, but Santa Maharaj was there.
Okay. Yeah. Did you go to the place of Ramananda Rai? Do you remember? The Godavari River? I mean, South India is very big.
Yeah, no, I didn't.
Okay. But yes, I mean, I'm not sure what's happening there now. I'm sure something's going on. So at that time, Srila Saraswati Thakur changed his name to Ramananda Rai, to Ramananda Das. Oh, and here we have Ramananda, Ramananda Prabhu. He particularly gave him that name, no doubt very significant. We're not really qualified to comment on that, but Gurudev, he's mentioned, he said that Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he is non-different with the divine person of Ramananda Rai. Gurudev made that comment. And also we know that Srila Sridhar Maharaj had so much affinity for that discussion, the Ramananda Sambad, that conversation between Mahaprabhu and Ramananda, and many of Srila Sridhar Maharaj's way of analysis, and it's come from there, and many of his well-known expressions like dive deep into reality, that has come from that discussion. This is external, go deeper, eho bhaja, age kaha has come from that discussion. And he expressed you find everything, I find everything in that conversation. And Gurudev also mentioned that in his last days, Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he wasn't actually, he was practically blind actually, materially speaking. And he wouldn't hear so much either, but sometimes he liked to hear the Ramananda Sambad. Gurudev, he said that. He liked to hear that very much. So this, there's some connection is there with Srila Sridhar Maharaj and Ramananda Rai. And so here it's very interesting, Srila Sridhar Maharaj, this is after he's been given sannyas, but he's not referring to himself as, B.R. Sridhar, Tridandi Swami, but he's referring to himself as Ramananda Das. And also at the end of Premadama Deva Stotram, he refers to himself as Sridhar, but he also, before that, refers to himself as Ramananda. So we see that here also. So this expression is very nice. Jar Bhagyodoi Shanda Das Ramananda Manda Shri Chandrika Deke Seva Sadma. This feeble Ramananda Das, whose good fortune has arisen, sees this Lagu Chandrika Bhashya as the temple of his service. This commentary gentle moonlight commentary. This is the temple of his service. He feels Bhagyodoi, so fortunate. His good fortune has arisen because the service opportunity has presented itself. To elaborate on the songs of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And now we have a direct pranam mantra to Srila Saraswati Thakur, which is so nice. It is, I mean, we don't like to talk about favorites because who are we to say what is our favorite? But if somebody like put a gun to my head and said, "What's your favorite?" I might choose this. It's so nice. Swairacharabdi samagnan jivangorangi pankaje udritya sharanapater mahatmyam samabodayat yastasya bhakti siddhanta saraswati prabhur guru atyudara parambojaduli sham janma janmani. My master, the universal guru, Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, uplifts the conditioned souls submerged in the ocean of their whimsical activities to the lotus feet of Sri Gauranga and enlightens them about the greatness of Sharanagati. Can you close that door for me? Let me be a particle of dust at his supremely magnanimous lotus feet, birth after birth. So, Swairacharabdi means the ocean of the whimsical activities. Abdi means ocean, Swairachar, the whimsical activities of the conditioned souls. So the conditioned souls, they're drowning in the ocean of their own whimsical activities. And then what happens? Then my Gurudev, he takes them out, Gaurangri Pankaje, he puts them at the lotus feet of Mahaprabhu. He pulls them out of that ocean, puts them at the feet of Mahaprabhu, and then Sharanapater Mahatmyam Samabodayat. This is a causative verb, we don't really have it in English, but he caused them to understand the glory of Sharanagati. He caused them to understand, he explained to them the glory of Sharanagati. Pulled them out of the ocean of their whimsical activity, put them at the feet of Mahaprabhu, and when they were there, he explained to them how wonderful Sharanagati is, how it is the best thing. I aspire, birth after birth, I aspire to be a speck of dust at the feet of that Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, Prabhur Guru. It's too much. What do you think of Tulananda? And now we have Pranam Mantra to Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, which is very, very nice. Guru Dham, and this is describing the gifts of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who's basically given us everything. Guru Dham, this is the Dham means like given. He gave us. Guru Dham, number one, he gave us Guru. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he gave us Guru. Who is Guru? Srila Saraswati Thakur. So this is the first and the foremost gift of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Srila Sridhar Maharaj describes it as, Srila Saraswati Thakur, because Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he was, when he, seeing the situation in society and how degraded Mahaprabhu's conception and his so-called followers had become, his heart was breaking, and he did his best to work within the existing society to re-establish the purity and the dignity of Mahaprabhu's teachings and lineage, but he was limited. He was working for the British government, he had a family, there was only so much he could do, and so he needed like a revolutionary. And so he prayed to the Lord, please send me somebody, send me someone, send me your own man who can complete this work. You know, I'm not the right person for this. And so Srila Maharaj has described how Saraswati Thakur, he was drawn by this melted heart of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And he appeared as his own son. Shri Gauranga Parishad Thakur Bhakti Vinod Dina Hina Pati Tera Bandhu Kalitama Vinashite Toma Akalanka Purna Indu. This verse Gurudev liked so much at the end of this, what is it called? A Charja Bandhana? This song in glorification of Srila Saraswati Thakur. It's the penultimate verse. Now, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he's the eternal associate of Mahaprabhu. He brought you here. You know, his heart, you know, Dina Hina Pati Tera Ban. He's the best friend of the patit, of the fallen, of the poor, pathetic souls of this world. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, his heart is suffering to see the condition of the souls of this world. He called for you, asked for you to come. You know, and so the Lord sent him for your sake, for the sake of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So this is the greatest gift of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He gave us Guru. And still today, Srila Saraswati Thakur is our Guru. I mean, of course, we have so many Gurus, but I mean, very particularly, we give special attention to Srila Saraswati Thakur. He established the way that we practice today. And Gurudev has mentioned that in terms of how we will, you know, like practically apply Krishna consciousness, we won't go beyond Srila Saraswati Thakur. Many things have been done by our line of gurus. Many things have been done by Mahaprabhu himself that we won't imitate, that we won't do. But Srila Saraswati Thakur, he like set the gold standard, you could say, as to how we will behave and how we will follow Krishna consciousness today in our daily practicing lives. So we won't say, oh, this person said that, this guru said this, and that guru said this, and Mahaprabhu himself did this. We won't do that. You know, maybe Mahaprabhu bathed in Radha Kund, but Srila Saraswati Thakur wouldn't allow that. Srila Saraswati Thakur wouldn't allow tilak from Radha Kund. And we will put a little water on our head. So we follow Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he burned his Brahmin thread. Publicly, he burned his Brahmin thread.
Wow. Why?
Because it's an external thing. We're not Brahmins, right? We're not brahmacharis either. Naham vipro, nacha narpatir, napi vaisho, na shujo, naham varni, nacha grihapatir, no vanastogatir va. No, we're not any of these things. We're not brahmacharis, we're not grihastas, we're not vanaprastas, we're not, you know, none of these designations. We're not pujaris and we're not cooks or any of these things actually. We're just, you know, dasa dasanam, the sattvam, dehi me prabhu. We want to be servant of the servant of the servant. I appreciated very much what Devi Shishru shared the other day, that when he first visited the Math in Navadvip in the 80s, one thing that really struck him, impressed him very much, is that the servitors of all of the servitors of the Math, if anybody asked them, what is your service? They would say, Vaishnav Seva. And he said, like, by comparison, in another institution, they would say, oh, I'm the pujari, I'm the cook, I'm the manager, so on and so forth. But it didn't matter what service they did, they would all say, Vaishnav Seva. And he said, even if like the devotee who asked was a little puzzled, like, what do you mean Vaishnav Seva? But I mean, like, practically speaking, what do you do? They would still say, no, Vaishnav Seva, that is my service. I'm doing puja because a Vaishnav asked me to do it. That's what makes it meaningful. I'm cooking because that's what Gurudev wants, that's what the Vaishnavas want. So I'm doing Vaishnav Seva. That is the real seva, that is our real identity, Vaishnav Das, Dasanu Das. So how did I get on to that point? I've forgotten now.
We're talking about Saraswati Thakur and Devashi's class.
Yeah, but how did I go on to that? What was before that? Oh yeah, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur burning his Brahmin thread.
Right.
So we don't imitate that. I mean, it's totally 100% bona fide, of course. And he's he's Nitya Siddha, eternally liberated associate of the Lord. But we don't imitate that because Saraswati Thakur, Srila Saraswati Thakur, he actually like introduced that and like gave it to the Shudras, You know why? Because he's dealing in modern times. He's seeing what is necessary in modern times. He's seeing that the Brahmins, they have so much ego, that they're so great. And he sees that the Vaishnavas, they're getting some inferiority complex, that they're inferior to the Brahmins. So we have to show the world that Vaishnavas are not lower than Brahmins, and we have to encourage the Vaishnav section. You're not lower than Brahmins. And so he's considering many different things and then deciding accordingly. And we're following that. We're following some Varnashram Dharma. But it is Daiva Varnashram. In the center is pure Krishna consciousness. We're employing different elements of Varnashram for the purpose of serving Krishna, serving the center for some higher purpose. So who do we follow? We follow Srila Saraswati Thakur. So Guru Dham, he gave us Guru. Grantha Dham, he gave us the Grantha, he gave us the scripture. Srimad Bhagavatam, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, these scriptures, they were like almost lost. And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he brought them back to light. He prepared commentaries. At least we know for Chaitanya Charitamrita. I'm not sure about Bhagavatam, but he would have published it, put it back into circulation. He, showed the importance of these texts. There's that famous talk he gave, the Bhagavat, very famous talk about Srimad Bhagavatam. And he also composed so much himself, like over 100 different books in so many different languages, Persian and Tamil and English and Sanskrit and Bengali. He knew so many different languages. Jai Mahaprabhu ki Jai. And he composed also in many different styles, in song, English song. He wrote original like English poetry. Then you have Bengali song, Sanskrit verses. You have scholarly texts that will appear to the Western mind, scholarly texts that will appear to the Eastern mind. He's like covering everyone and every what do you call it, area of society. So he himself also gave us scripture. He gave us this. This is one scripture he has given us in the form of sweet song. Then Goradhamadam. He gave us Goradham. He revealed the birthplace of Mahaprabhu, which had become lost over time. He established a place of worship there. He also organized like a committee to preserve, to protect, to take care of the holy Dham. And there was one occasion I recall he had to raise funds for this committee, and he made a comment like, if necessary, I'm ready myself to go door to door to beg the people to give some contribution for this work. And there was one newspaper very impressed, and they published that comment of his in their newspaper. So he gave us Goradham, Mahaprabhu's Dham, Navadvip. He revealed He also gave us Navadvip Dham Mahatmya, where he's describing this vision of Nityananda Prabhu taking Srila Jiva Goswami around all the islands of Navadvip, describing the pastimes connected to them. And then Namadam, he gave us the name, means he gave us the pure conception of the name. Because many persons, they were taking the name, but without any conception of pure practices or proper understanding. And so he gave us, like for example, we've been given these 10 offenses, and we know we cannot properly chant the name if we are not avoiding these offenses. So that is a part of the, the practice of pure devotion. Bhakti Dham, he gave us bhakti, gave us the true conception of bhakti, of pure devotion. That he has clearly shown in his books, this including the Sharanagati, the real mood of devotion, how one can attain true devotion. Buddhidham means like so much, an abundance. He gave us so much. And that it is said that is indicating the service of Srimati Radharani, Radha Dasyam. And that has been described in another verse very beautifully, another verse of Srila Sridhar Maharaj about Bhaktivinoda Thakur, but we'll discuss that another day. Vande Bhakti Vinoda Kamsada, I eternally, perpetually, with great joy, offer my pranam, my obeisance to Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Bhakti Vino Devena Sharanagati Namika Rachita Pushtika Kacha Tasya Bashe Kritodyama. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur composed a short book entitled Sharanagati, upon which I have written a commentary. Idanim ati mandopi bhakti bhyo bhakti samgrahe shilagu chandrika bhashyam prakashartam dadamyaham. Now, although I am very dull-witted, for the sake of illumination, I offer the devotees this gentle moonlight commentary, which represents the conclusions of pure devotion. Okay, well, this preface is very short. We may as well, I think we may as well conclude the class. This is an excerpt from, isn't this an excerpt from somewhere? No, maybe this is actually a part of the original text. Yeah, well, it's very short. We can read this. Preface, Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Dev has clearly declared within this material world the message that the fortune of Sri Krishna Prem, divine love for Sri Krishna, which condemns the four ends of conventional religion, which are the four ends of conventional religion. You can say it to Mantra.
How many are those? Or no ways?
Those are described like the three main obstacles for the Vaishnavas.
Yeah, what I was thinking about.
But like for an average Hindu, what are the four things which are considered to be like the four goals of life? Do you remember?
4 goals of life, but I said
yeah, I mean, for us, we'll consider...
Moksha is one of them, right?
Yes, correct.
But I thought that they...
Ramanandra, you know, right? Okay, close. Does Radharani know? Yes! Very good! You see, she's so quiet, but she knows. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Very good. Very good. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Dharma means like referring to like ordinary piety, which is motivated by like material desires. Artha, desire for wealth. Kama, the desire for sense pleasure. And Moksha, the desire for liberation. But Mahaprabhu, he gave us Pancham Purushartha, the 5th goal of human life, which condemns these other goals. That is
Bhakti.
Yes, or prema. Krishna, yes, bhakti or prema. Shri Krishna prema. The fifth and supreme end of human life. Sharanagati is the sole means to obtain that topmost end of human life. Sharanagati is the only way to get prema, divine love. To enlighten the jivas conditioned in the material world about this, and to reveal the process of Sharanagati, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Dev himself descended, along with his eternal associates and divine abode of Navadvip Dham. This sounds very familiar. What does this sound like? Does it remind you of a song that we sing every day? This is one of the songs that we sing every day that's describing exactly this, what we just read.
Can you read it again?
Okay, well first we said that prema is the supreme goal of human life. Then we have to enlighten the jivas conditioned in the material world about this and to reveal... Wait, sorry, no, I'll go back. Sharanagati is the sole means to obtain that topmost end of human life. Prema. Sharanagati is the only way to get prema. This is a major clue. Then, to enlighten the jivas conditioned in the material world about this and to reveal the process of Sharanagati, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Dev himself descended along with his eternal associates and divine abode. Shri Navadvip Dham. Come on, this is a major clue. Every day we sing this song. Come on. Every day. Every morning we sing this song. Come on. Come on. This is really easy now. Every morning we sing this song. Yes. Say, keep going. Bhakaterapan.
Yes.
Very good. Excellent. Excellent. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Jive Doya Kori. To bestow doya, to bestow mercy upon the jivas. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Jive Doya Kori. Swaparshada. Along with his associates. Swaparshada Swiya Dhamma Saha Avatadi. With his parshad and with his dham, his abodes, Avatadi. He descended. He came here. Atyanta Durlabha Prema Kori Baredan, to distribute this rare prem, Shikaya Sharanagati Bhakatir. He instructed about Sharanagati. Okay, so we'll finish this. He taught Sharanagati through his own practice and preaching, as well as through the practice and preaching of his capable servants. Sometime later, one of his devotee associates, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, gave extensive guidance about the practice of Sharanagati through analysis and description of its limbs and sublimbs in this small book named Sharanagati. And what other book, sorry, I'm being really tough today. What other book do we have which is discussing Sharanagati? It's all about Sharanagati. I know Radharani knows the answer to this.
Maybe Prabhupada.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Prior to Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, other acharyas also spoke at length about Sharanagati. Additionally, the fundamental teachings of Sharanagati are found within Srimad Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, what is the main verse in Bhagavad Gita about Sharanagati, which everybody knows? Yes. Say it louder. Say the whole verse.
No, you can say it.
No, you say it. No. I don't remember. Okay, Ramananda, you say the verse. You can remember? You can help him? Tulananda. Can you say that, Ran? Very good. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo. Tulanandra, you say. He knows. He's worried, oh, my ego's going to get too big. I know what he's thinking. Moksha yashami ma shucha. Okay.
What about Mahashucha? Is it the same?
Sorry, what's that?
Mahashucha.
Moksha yashami.
And the very ending.
Ma shucha. Shucha. Shucha is referring to lamenting. So you say ma shucha. Do not lament. Like, don't worry. I'll take care of you.
I was thinking, there would be some the Vaishnavas walking around who have prema.
What did you say?
There must be some Vaishnavas walking around who have prema.
It's certainly possible. But atyanta, what does atyanta mean? Very rare. Atyanta, no, durlabha, sorry. Durlabha. Atyanta durlabha. It is very rare. It is extremely rare.
But it doesn't necessarily mean that their hands become elongated and that type of stuff. Right?
Well, the Vaishnavas conceal that, right? And what they show to us as one thing, we may think is one thing, may be something else. Some of Srila Gurudev's associates, they described when he was showing some symptoms of illness, they felt it was something else. So the Vaishnava, they are concealing that. So that is the characteristic of the Vaishnava. They're hiding their quality, so it can be difficult to really detect who is the real Vaishnava.
Why?
Because they don't like a Tulananda. Pretending he doesn't know, because he doesn't want Pratishta.
A really super bad demon.
No, you're hiding that you're a great devotee.
It's working also. People think I'm not a demon, but I am.
Because they don't want Pratishta. So, Srila Vamsidas Babaji, in his last days, he lived in Navadvip his whole life, but in his last days, when he was going to leave his body, he went somewhere else. So nobody would say like, oh, you know, he left in the Dham. And he showed all these sores on his body. And he said to the people, you know, look at me, I'm suffering for all my sinful reactions. I've lived such a sinful life, and now I have to suffer like this. We can't really imagine such a level of devotion and humility, because they're so deeply on that side, positive side. They're so satisfied by that. The idea of some position in this world, it's like disgusting to them. We consider it to be valuable. What we consider to be valuable, they consider to be stool. Tomara pratishta, shukarera bishta. Your pratishta is like the stool of a pig stool. This is Srila Saraswati Thakur's line. There's a really wonderful quote of Gurudev where he says, maybe for the time being, persons may not be able to give up that habit of pratishta. And he said, but why should they eat that stool 24 hours daily? Maybe they can give it up right away, but do they have to eat it 24 hours a day? Okay, I want to finish this. And I know everybody has to rest. Yesterday was very... prior to Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, other acharyas also spoke at length about Sharanagati. Additionally, the fundamental teachings of Sharanagati are found within Srimad Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. The subject of Sharanagati is also especially well known within the Sri Sampradaya, the Ramanuja Sampradaya. This is very prominent in the writings of their preceptors. Surrender, Sharanagati. And so we see in Prapana Jivanamritam that Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he's especially Kula Shekhar and Jamuna Charja. Kula Shekhar Charja, Jamuna Charja. Srila Sridhar Maharaj has taken some of their verses, which are so beautiful. Bhavantam evanu charam Bhavantam evanu charam. Oh, I can't remember it. Anyway, there's several very beautiful. When will my heart bloom in a life of eternal servitude, and thereby all of my material desires will be pacified by that. Very beautiful. Majjanmalam phalam idam maru kaitabre mat partaniya madanugraha esha eva tad britya paricharaka britya brityasya brityam itimam smara lokana. It's Kula Shekhar. My life will be successful. This is the only aspiration, this is the only prayer that I have. That you will think of me, of the servant, of your servant. Many beautiful prayers. So, yes, and we've heard Gurudev mention this point also. That we don't find anywhere except outside of Mahaprabhu's Sampradaya, we don't find anywhere except in the Ramanujan, the Sri Sampradaya, that Sharanagati has been given such a high position, given so much importance. So we have some special appreciation and affinity for that Sampradaya. Vaishnav Seva is also very important. Ananya Bhakti and Vaishnav Seva, these two characteristics. Exclusive pure devotion, which must include Sharanagati, and service to the Vaishnavas. Okay. So the subject of Sharanagati is also especially well known within the Sri Sampradaya. Still, the way in which Sri Chaitanya Chandra has revealed the fundamental nature of Sharanagati is unparalleled. He is taught that Sharanagati is the appropriate means of obtaining the fortune of the divine loving service, Prema Seva, of Rajendra Nandan Krishna, the whimsical enjoyer of the wives of the cowherd men of Braja, whose divine form is the origin of the absolute truth. Therefore, in order to distribute these illustrious teachings of Sharanagati, Srimad Bhakti Vinod Thakur has invoked the benediction of that supreme, munificent origin of all avatars, Sri Chaitanya Chandra, by first mentioning his name while establishing the theme of his treatise within his invocation of auspiciousness. So then we'll do this, we'll come to this tomorrow. Then we come to Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur's invocation of auspiciousness. And that is the song that we sing every day. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Jiva. This is the introductory song invoking the mercy of Mahaprabhu, his Ishtadevata, who is the supreme, described here as the supreme munificent origin of all avatars. So he has invoked his grace in this first line. And I just want to mention, he is taught that Sharanagati is the appropriate means of obtaining the fortune of the divine loving service of Rajendra Nandan Krishna, the whimsical enjoyer of the wives of the cowherd men of Braja. So that particular Krishna, because there are different types of Krishna, right? There's Mathura Krishna, there is Dwaraka Krishna, and then you also have so many expansions, the Vishnu forms in the Narayan forms in Vaikuntha, and so on and so forth. But particularly this Vrindavan Krishna, Brajendra Nandan Krishna, he is attracted by Sharanagati. Full Sharanagati. We can only get his attention, if we attract, if we approach in the mood of full Sharanagati. And that line is in Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's song. Shad Anga Sharanagati. You remember that line? Shad Anga Sharanagati Hoi Be Jahar Tahara Partana Shune Sri Nanda Kumar. Who can follow these 6 limbs of surrender? Their prayer is heard by Sri Nanda Kumar. Tahara Partana. Partan is prayer. Prayer must have come from Partana. It's very close. Tahara Partana Shune Sri Nanda Kumar. He only hears the prayers of the surrendered souls. There's a filter system. Other expansions of Krishna, they can deal with other kinds of prayers. With the Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha prayers. But Rajendra Nandan Krishna, Vrindavan Krishna, he only deals with those souls who are approaching an exclusive mood of surrender. Jai Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki Jai, Shri Sharanagati ki Jai. Do you have time to sing?
Yeah. Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda